Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai SATCHARITRA, an Insight. Episode 161. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnuhu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, we have been heeding to the amazing Leelas experienced by Lala Lakshmi Chand at Shiradi. Let us now listen to another enthralling divine sport of Sri Sai Baba as articulated by Hemat Panji in Sri Sai SATCHARITRA. Lala Lakshmi Chand, after his first visit, became greatly devoted to Sri Sai Maharaj. Hence, he began to make frequent visits to Shiradi. In one such visit, he was witnessing the Chavadi procession. That is, on every alternate night, Sri Sai Maharaj used to go to Chavadi from Dwarakamai to sleep, and on those days, the devotees brought him on a procession in a regal and royal manner. Hence, the devotees had the great fortune of witnessing this grand procession on every alternate day. After Mahasamadhi of Sri Sainath Maharaj, on every Thursday, the Sansthan conducts the Chavadi procession. So, during Sri Sai Baba's sojourn in Shiradi, Lala Lakshmi Chand took part in one such Chavadi procession and had a blissful darshan of Sri Sai Baba. During this procession, many devotees were bestowed with variety of experiences by Sri Sai Baba. In the future episodes, we will be discussing the Leelas experienced by the fervent devotee Sri Balaram Turandar and brothers were greatly devoted to Lord Vittal. During their visit, Sri Sai Baba appeared as Lord Panduranga in the Chavadi procession. Sri Sai Maharaj's face beamed with full radiance like the glory of the rising sun. Men and women singing bhajans to the accompaniment of the various musical instruments. Some were chanting the holy name of Sri Sai Baba, dancing with joy. Some carried various flags, and on the way they spread folds of cloth on which Sri Sai Baba walked very slowly, supported by devotees' hands, with Tatya on the left side of Sri Sai Baba and Bhagat Mahalsapati on the right. This was a great sight to behold. The distance between Dwarakamai and Chavadi was very short, but Sri Sai Baba made baby steps, and it would take at least an hour for the devotees to complete the distance to Chavadi. On the way, Sri Sai Maharaj would stop at Dakshinamukhi Hanuman temple. His face shone with a peculiar lustre. It seemed as if the face of Sri Sai Baba glittered like dawn and stood there with a concentrated mind, moving his right arm up and down for some time as if he was calling somebody. Words fail to describe the scene and splendor of this occasion. So, devotees were eagerly waiting to participate and witness this divine lustre that shone at Sri Sai Baba's face and beheld it to their heart's content. Let's get back to the original thread. Lala Lakshmi Chand was blessed to watch this most ecstatic scene, and at that moment Sri Sai coughed, and it seemed as though he was suffering from severe asthma. The devotion that Lala Lakshmi Chand had on Sri Sai Baba was very loving and caring. He had the heart of a tender mother. Hence, at that very second, he felt very distressed and thought, "Oh, maybe someone's evil eye has fallen upon Sri Sai Maharaj. That's why he is suffering from this severe cough." This scene caused distress in his heart, but he did not reveal his thoughts to anyone. Next day, when he went to Dwarakamai for Sri Sai Baba's darshan, he glanced at Lala Lakshmi Chand and with a gentle smile told Shama thus, "Oh Shama, I am having acute cough. Is it because somebody's evil eye is working upon me? I think so. Maybe some unwanted person's evil tendencies are working upon me. He is the supreme God. None can do any evil acts upon Sri Sai Maharaj. But out of the loving devotion, that is Prema Bhakti, and Vatsalya Bhava, that is love as that of a mother towards her child, Lala Lakshmi Chand developed such a thought, and Sri Sai Maharaj, the omniscient, read his mind and now revealing it by expressing the same thoughts without any difference. Of all the forms of bhakti, Prema Bhakti is the most supreme one, as it considers the Lord as his own child and pours motherly love and serves by attending to every need of the Lord. The best example in this connection can be quoted from the life of Periyarvar. Among the Arvars, Periyarvar stood out with his Tirumozhi, and he is the only one to have rendered verses for the welfare of the Lord. Hence, he is referred to as Periya, that is the big one. Let us now listen to that amazing Leela that conferred this great title upon him. Periyarvar is also known as Vishnu Chittar, as his mind was ever engrossed on Lord Vishnu. He was always in the service of Nandavana Kainkaryam, which means plucking the most fragrant and exquisite flowers, making garlands and adorning it on the Lord was the most favorite activity for him. He considered himself as Mother Yashoda and regarded Lord Vishnu as baby Krishna and sang pasurams on the pastime divine plays of Lord Vishnu. These devotional poems reveal the incomparable devotion Periyarvar had for Lord Krishna. At this point of time, the Pandya king Vallabhadeva of Madurai gave an invitation to all the religious scholars to discourse on one of the philosophical truths of the Supreme God, and Vishnu Chittar was one among them. Among the scholars was Vishnu Chittar. The explanation given by Vishnu Chittar on the greatness of Lord Narayana was astounding and was more convincing. He gave references from Vedic scriptures, and when compared with the descriptions given by others, his narration was impressive. So he gave the prize money and conferred the title of Butterpiran. He was also taken out on a royal procession on the elephant mount around the streets of Madurai. As he moved along the procession, lo, Vishnu Chittar got the magnificent darshan of Lord Vishnu with his consort Goddess Lakshmi on the Garuda mount. Everyone beheld this unique and divine appearance of the Lord, and the whole town was in jubilation. Vishnu Chittar was baffled at this divine sight, but at the same time he was worried, as the magnificent form of the god and goddess has been witnessed by so many, and if that would cause any discomfort to the Lord, and hence began to sing verses on the welfare of the deity. Let us heed to couple of those verses. பல்லாண்டு பல்லாண்டு பல்லாயிரத்தாண்டு பல கோடி நூறாயிரம் மல்லாண்ட தின்தோள் மணிவண்ணா உன் செவ்வடி செவ்வி திருக்காப்பு அடியோமோடும் நின்னோடும் பிரிவின்றி ஆயிரம் பல்லாண்டு வடிவாய் நின்வல மார்பினில் வாழ்கின்ற மங்கையும் பல்லாண்டு வடிவார் சோதி வளத்துறையும் சுடரொழியும் பல்லாண்டு படையோர் புக்கு முழங்கும் அப்பாஞ்ச சந்நியமும் பல்லாண்டே. The immense concern he had on the Lord made him to deliver a benediction for the Lord, and these verses are known as Tirupallandu, which is unique as it reveals his motherly love for the Lord. Devotees, similar was the concern and love of Lakshmi Chand upon Sri Sai Maharaj. And to indicate that he had acknowledged this loving devotion, Sri Sai Maharaj commented upon this thought of Lala Lakshmi Chand to Shama. So Periyalvar's emotions and Lala Lakshmi Chand's seems to be parallel regarding their concern and loving devotion that they had upon their God. Let us now move on to another sparrow drawn towards Shirdi as narrated by Hemat Panji in Sri Sai SATCHARITRA. He has given a detailed narration about a devotee known as Barhanpur lady. This lady was from a place known as Barhanpur at Madhya Pradesh. This is approximately 306 kilometers from Shirdi. She has never had darshan of Sri Sai Baba. She had a dream in which Sri Sai Baba appeared at her doorsteps and begged for khichdi, which was astonished by this dream and woke up from sleep. The dream seemed to be so real for her that she checked if someone was standing and begging near her door for khichdi, but found none there. This stunning dream filled her heart with joy that she shared it with her husband and everyone. Her husband was also devoted to God. He was an officer at Barhanpur Postal Department. They both decided to go to Shirdi and offer khichdi naivedyam to Sri Sai Maharaj. At this juncture, he got an order from his office transferring him to Akola, which is in the state of Maharashtra. The couple were happy about this transfer, as this is paving way for them to go to Shirdi. But strangely, though Barhanpur is situated in the state of Madhya Pradesh, it is only 306 kilometers away, whereas Akola, which is in the state of Maharashtra, is almost 352 kilometers far from Shirdi. Still, they are happy as they are going to be living in the province of Maharashtra. This was considered by them as a divine call from Sri Sai Maharaj. They both started their trip to Shiradi, reached the banks of Godavari, took a ritualistic bath, and with all excitement reached the holy land Shiradi. They stayed there for almost a period of 2 months. We are not sure if the husband also stayed for all the 2 months, but the wife did stay there. Her name is not mentioned by Hemat Panji. As she came from Burhanpur, she is referred to as Burhanpur lady. The reason of their visit itself was to offer the khichdi, but for some reason, the first 13 days she went for Sri Sai's darshan every day, but owing to one or the other reason, she was unable to do this offering. On the 14th day, after the noon arati, as usual, all the food offerings were placed in the presence of Sri Sai Maharaj. Then, considering that they have been accepted by Sri Sai Maharaj, all the food will be placed inside the kolamba, that is the mud pot used by Sri Sai for begging alms. All the food will be mixed and placed exactly in front of the nimbar, which is the center portion of the masjid. The curtain will be drawn and then Sri Sai Maharaj will be seated, placing his back to the nimbar. The devotees will be seated on either side and leaves will be spread to serve the consecrated food to them. None will be permitted to enter the sanctum sanctorum once the curtain is drawn. They must wait in the Sabha Mandap for Sri Sai Maharaj to finish his meals. This was the practice followed regarding the noon prasadam. However, today the Burhanpur lady was determined to serve khichdi for Sri Sai Baba. So, not minding the curtain, she tried to climb the stairs of Dwarakamai. Immediately, the devotees at the Sabha Mandap warned her to not go further as Sri Sai Maharaj would get enraged. Sri Sai Baba would never let anyone neglect the rules even to the slightest extent. Otherwise, he would rebuke them for their disobedience. Whereas she wasn't prepared to listen to any forewarning. She pushed the curtain aside and handed over the vessel full of khichdi to Sri Sai Maharaj. To everyone's surprise, rather than getting enraged, Sri Sai Baba spread his hands, received it willingly, and instead of mixing it with the food in kolamba and distributing to everyone seated there to partake the food with him, he took the khichdi and began to eat morsel after morsel. Devotees, isn't this astounding? This is the recognition Sri Sai Maharaj gives to the prema bhakti, that is, the loving devotion of this Burhanpur lady. He always longs for this kind of loving offering. We have observed this at various circumstances. To recall, when Vishnu Pant Pitale bought mangoes for him, sitting at Dwarakamai, he was grasping the beautiful aroma of the fruit. The importance Sri Sai Baba gives in accepting and eating the food offered with love and devotion was so apparent and amazing. Similar interest was showed by Sri Sai in accepting the food brought by Sri Lakshmi Kaparde. Likewise, the peda, which is already offered at home, was sent by Sitabai Tarkad through Govindji's son of Balakram to offer it to Sri Sai. As she didn't find anything else at that moment to send through him, and the same was accepted by Sri Sai Maharaj with the same fervor. So, Sri Sai Maharaj was earning for this offering, as it was he who appeared in Burhanpur lady's dream and asked for it. Hence, he gulped it enthusiastically. The above Leela reminds of another divine sport. Tirukannapuram is one of the Divya Desams of Lord Vishnu. It is the abode of Neelamega Perumal and considered as one of the 8 holy centers of salvation as per Vaishnava tradition. Every night, the food offering made to this Lord is known as Munayodaran Pongal. This is the traditional food offered before the last puja. Let's listen to the significance of this food offering and the interesting title given to it. A Vaishnavite by named Munayodaran offered the dish made of rice, lentils and ghee to Lord Vishnu every day in the temple. One night he was unable to offer it by then. In the temple the night puja began, and what happened then? Did Munayodaran offer the pongal to the Lord? How was his food accepted? This enthralling Leela we shall listen in the coming episode along with other amazing stories. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.